One extra.
Hi, I'm Nadia J, and I present the One Extra Breakfast Show. The Harder They Fall is an all-action Western movie with an all-black cast, directed by British singer, songwriter, and filmmaker Jeymes Samuel. To celebrate its release, One Extra held a special preview screening at the stunning Electric Cinema on Portabello Road, West London, just around the corner from the Mozart Estate where Jeymes Samuel grew up. After the film screening, Reese Parkinson and I invited some special guests on stage to talk about the film and take questions from the audience. Welcome to the Harder They Fall Q&A.
We've watched the movie and we want to give a big One Extra welcome to our multi-award winning special guest. So
That's exciting. Oh my goodness. All right, so we last saw this actor battling monsters races in the Emmy-nominated Lovecraft Country.
Oh, yeah.
Here is the Harder They Fall's Nat Love, a.k.a. Jonathan Majors. Make some noise!
Yeah.
He made it. Jonathan Majors. Oh, yeah.
Yes, King. Earlier this year, this Oscar-winning actress made her feature-length directorial debut with... Have you seen this movie? I love this movie, One Night in Miami. Here is The Harder They Fall's treacherous Trudy Smith, a.k.a. Regina King!
Wow!
Yeah.
I should have wore something else.
Yeah, that's...
Gina, you should have told me we were doing shorts, babes. You should have told me. I would have got them out. It's fine. Okay, and last but by no means least, I've already had a chat with this guy. So as you know, at One Extra, we love to big up UK talent. And without this next guest, none of this would have been possible. We're so grateful. It's The Harder They Fall's co-writer and director, and he's got bars for days, a.k.a. singer-songwriter, The Bullets. Make some noise for Jeymes Samuel, please.
Yeah. Let's make some noise for Jeymes.
Jeymes. Yes, Jeymes, take that slow walk.
First of all, thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate you a lot. As the reaction was incredible and it was a great movie. We both enjoyed it. Jonathan, let's start with you. Your character is based on the real life Nat Love. The first question I want to ask you is playing an African-American cowboy and former slave as well. What was it like taking on that role and the research that you put into Nat Love? Was it fun or challenging?
It was fun and challenging. I'll say that. Nat Love was from Tennessee. He was a former slave or enslaved individual, as Jeymes Samuel so beautifully said just a few hours ago. The preparation for Nat Love was he wrote an autobiography in which he talked about essentially how gangster he was. And so it's only 75 pages, so I got to read that over and over and over again. And then when I got to see the script, it looked like that was that The Harder They Fall was just a missing chapter in a way from this mythological folk hero of Nat Love. And so looking at what Jeymes was asking for in the story about this, outlaw of outlaws, this romantic, this singing, gunslinging fucking G, right? I took all that inspiration that Jeymes laid out, and we got busy on it. We worked on a lot of the singing, which is all James's work, and me sitting on the porch, trying to copy his vocals, best I could, and a lot of horse riding, just understanding the nature of the West. It's a frontier. It's these people are natural. These people are full-bodied. They're dealing with fate, love, and desire. So, I just kind of sat back and took all that in and said the words.
Where is he?
Where is who?
Marshall. I'm speaking English, yeah?
Sound like English to me.
Mm-hmm. Where's Rufus Buck?
Oh. Bass.
Trudy.
If I'd known you was switching sides, I'd have asked you to come join us. You here for your damsel in distress?
So Regina, I'm going to come to you next. So lovely to see you again, by the way. Last time we met was when you came to One Extra when we was talking about The Watchmen. So it was Watchmen. You've been kicking ass, to be fair. So, we rarely see strong black characters in Westerns, let alone women. So how important was it for you to play treacherous Trudy Smith? You know, when you got offered the role, when you saw it, what was it like for you? Was you know, explain to us how you were feeling. And
Well, it was exciting because I needed to play something that, even though she's ruthless, if you will, it was fun, you know, and it was a departure from roles that I've been playing over the past few years. And reading the script and Jeymes giving me his vision, sharing his vision and how he saw and heard the film, because he's a composer, a songwriter, as well as a writer and director. That made me excited. And to see a story with three women that are so different, but so similar as far as strength and being individuals, not being attached to a man. Mary doesn't need Nat. Nat needs Mary. Rufus doesn't, Trudy don't need Rufus. Rufus needs Trudy. And then to have a man be the one to see the need for women that he sees in his life to be represented.
Ghastly Gertrude Smith.
I prefer treacherous Trudy myself, but I'll take it. What brings you to my town?
I heard Rufus Buck was back.
News travels fast.
I have an offer he might want to hear about.
Well, any offer you got, you can make it to me.
I don't do business with the help.
Give me that.
Lead the way, treacherous Trudy.
I'm not sure if anyone saw James's freestyle that he did earlier.
yes, on the One Extra Instagram.
Yeah, but I just want to say, that was a great performance. The Jay-Z So Ghetto freestyle.
And you forgot, it was only Monday.
Oh,
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember you said, what's a jigger bar? Like,
Defo asked you what favourite song.
Any jigger bars? I was like, do I know any jigger bars?
James,
I can't remember what one I done.
You know, I asked you what
So
song
Ghetto.
you like.
Yeah, was it So Ghetto?
So Ghetto, yeah.
That's
yeah.
hard.
That's
That's hard.
Ghetto.
Career crook. Nobody read
Oh,
Brooklyn
he's on
like
again.
me. Jigger Man, Volume 3. I'm back. Look, what was it? Stop the presses. Baby girl, drop your dresses. BK, lick a shot for Big Pop in heaven. Ever since I came through, you just got the impression. Everything I drop
could
out of
beatbox.
the question. Stop the guess, them hot. Flows proven. I pack, come my doors moving. My whole crew up in this motherfucker. We spray corners. That's hard joint.
Yeah, we could. Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you,
There we
James.
go.
A
Ain't
live
my-
rendition.
Ain't my joint.
You still got it.
That wasn't in the script. Sorry, bro.
No.
I had to personally. But what I wanted to ask you is, you know, as soon as it starts, we see whilst the events in his story are fictional, these people existed. How important was it for you to open with that statement?
It was super important because, you know, I grew up just loving westerns. I just love cinema, but westerns have always been my favorite genre. And, you know, the vantage point of which Hollywood showed us those stories was really narrow, right? And singular. And there was no room either side for any wider interpretation, as it were. So for me, just growing up, I always would wonder why all the women, whatever color, in these period pieces were always seen as subservient, and all the people of color were subservient or treated less than human. And I'll just, you know, just grow up researching or learning more about what was known as the New West. It wasn't actually the Old West. And I'll uncover all of these great characters. But incidentally, the crazy thing is the most debates I would have about black people being in the Old West were with black people. Ain't that some crazy tish? Like, it would be with black people. Like, 1 in 4 cowboys was black, right? Wyatt Earp died in 1929. Tombstone took place in 1881. There was gunfire at OK Corral, 1881. The Emancipation Proclamation Act was in the 1860s. It was decades of the Old West, post-slavery. And before slavery was abolished, there was like 100 years or so with black people free and enslaved, being part of this cowboy, new West, new frontier, new American experience. And for me, I just thought the quickest way, one, I love entertainment, and I love film, right? So you got all of these stories that's never been told. I want to see that movie. That's one. But two, just so I dead the argument once and for all and no one can tell me nothing ever again. Let me just bring all of these characters, all of these real characters, and put them in one place and one time like the Avengers, just to dead that argument and assemble these superheroes and make this swagged out story with this bad boy music and and then you have The Harder They Fall. So I wanted to just deliver a piece that people could watch and then go and research about afterwards. You know what I mean?
I defo did that. Amen.
Bars.
Now, how much? How much can be gathered?
10,000. Maybe 15 if every last cent can be squeezed.
Ain't nobody to leave town until we collect it all.
And if you fail to comply, you and everything you love will burn.
Jonathan, I'm going to come to you. What was your favorite on-set moment whilst filming? Were there any moments of like madness or mayhem, laughter, just a moment that sticks out for you?
So the final scene, Rufus Buck, Nat Love, our brother Idris Elba, Jeymes Samuel, myself, we're all in this room, and it's very much like it's an arena. And what we're about to go into, the three of us all decided we didn't talk about it much. We had an idea of, okay, we're going to try to keep our distance because of the pandemic. We had to kind of amend that, because we had to be close to each other. But we never really spoke about the scene. We knew what it had to be. James would come up and we just kind of look at each other. It was like, yeah, all right, let's roll. Driss. And we went in, and everybody showed up in that moment. And it's very rare that in a film or in art, that it's not just the three artists that are there, it's the three artists, and it's our ancestors that also show up. And something that happened in that moment for me, and later on talking with James, and well, after we cut, right, and Driss, the fraternal bond, the fraternal, I would say, bonding and trauma that we were going through was something that you kind of dream of as an artist. And for me, that moment of, we're brothers, we're enemies. We appear to be enemies, but yet we're brothers. And then all this was set up by this one man who understood it and so much and put himself in the scene. I don't want to say what, if you know where I'm going, the portrait. Yeah. Would you mind saying something about that? Because I don't want to, unless you don't mind me saying it.
You can say it.
In the scene, I don't know if no one would notice it, but in the scene, when Nat walks in, there's a portrait that's there. And that portrait, we found out later, was Jeymes Samuel's father. So that energy we were feeling in that moment was that fraternal, was that paternal, and we're talking about issues about our fathers. And in the African diaspora, right, because of slavery, because of the patriarchy we live in, our fathers, right, our men are put down. And our families, our boys grow up. I grew up in a certain way because of that system. And here we are healing each other in that moment. So for me, the whole film was dope, riding horses, all that. But for me, that communion, that healing that happened not just for the three men in that room, but I feel for my father, and it was witnessed by James's father. And Driss was going through it with his father. All in that moment was magical and very impactful for me.
Wow, please, makes it wow.
Did you plan for that, James, like to create that moment?
Absolutely. The shot, you actually see like my dad. I lost my dad when I was 9 years old, but my mum, she never remarried or took another boyfriend. And so my dad's still very, as far as I'm concerned, I still come from a two-parent family, right? I still speak to my dad daily, right? I remember one time, I thought this girl was pregnant one time. And I was standing outside the thing. She went to get tested. She's like, "Who are you talking to?" When I went to get tested, I was speaking to my dad. I said, "Daddy, man, I told you if I behave myself, you won't make her get pregnant." I was only like 17. I know. I digress. But I'm saying I speak to my dad all the time, and there's so much of my life that I've missed having a physical father figure. There's so much of my life that I've had to kind of make up. I still sit my dad's friends down and ask them to tell me stories about him. So in the movie, I don't make Rufus Buck and Nat Love share the frame once. They never share the same frame until Rufus Buck says the words, "and a son," and he walks into a 2-shot with Nat, and then I turn the camera around and you see Nat and my dad. Right, so for me, there was so much going on in that particular scene. The only other time they kind of share a frame, I wanted to show the distance between them, but the similarity between them is when Rufus Buck is looking through the window, and it's not CGI, it's a real shot, and I have the camera from behind him go right through the window and right down the street, all the way to Nat Love on his horse by the church. That's the only other time they share the frame. But while they're both in the same frame at the same time was in that shot. So it was really paternal. And at the end of it, we all broke down crying and all had to huddle each other and get through it. It was a deep thing.
Wow, what a moment. Thank you both for sharing. I really appreciate that.
Scratch that thing about when I thought I got the girl, you know. Like.
I was going to say, did that work? Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I only have one son.
There you go.
I was
Good
young.
old daddy,
you
man.
don't even know what you're doing, and you just move in the wrong kind of.
Big up, Dad.
Yeah.
Big up, Dad. All right, Regina, I'm going to come to you because I think we're going to talk about that fight. We have to, because I was like, I think it's really important to, and a credit to you, Jeymes, and everyone that worked on the production side of things and directing side of things, because seeing women just fight, just fist fight. There was nothing dainty about it. It wasn't cliche. It was incredible. I felt every punch. I did in my gut. For you, because I feel like I'm a bit protective over you sometimes. I watch you on screen. I've never seen you in that light before. So was that part fun too? I mean, could you explain what that was like? Did you guys have body doubles? Was it? Yeah, I can see the trauma.
Fun. I guess there would be a bit of a fun aspect to it, but it's a lot of work because it's choreography. It's not just, and for anybody who's been in a fight, fights don't last that long. I mean, fights, maybe you might get a good minute, and after that, you like, whew. And we definitely, Jeymes has a huge appetite. The fight had to be cut down. And Jeymes' appetite is so huge that the stunt coordinators knew his appetite was huge, and they built a fight so big that even he said, "Yo, this is too much."
So was that the scaled down version?
That was the scaled down version, yes, yeah.
What more?
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah. For the record, I was actually going to go the full hock, but then you have to think of the length of the movie. You guys will still be watching the movie now.
You don't look hard of hearing. So I'm gonna ask you again. Where's Rufus Buck?
Well, clearly, you don't know me.
Yeah, there's this one piece of choreography where Trudy climbs up a ladder. I said, so she's in a fight and goes up a ladder? Like, she's supposed to be gangster. Who would do that? Who would go up a ladder and risk getting pulled down? I don't understand. Yeah. Make me understand, please.
Yeah, they threw everything and the kitchen sink at that joint.
It looked cute,
yeah,
but it was too much. So Zazie and I, she was a wonderful partner. You have to be able to trust the person. I'm saying you have to be able to trust your scene partner, but I know a lot of actors who have been in the position where they could not trust their partner, and it's been the result have been really dangerous. Not fun. Because you're gonna leave any fight scene with cut, bruised, dislocated something. It's just a give. If you really giving it and you really are fighting, you're gonna leave with something. And we, because of the pandemic, we didn't have the time that you would normally have to do a scene that big. And Zazie and I came back from our Thanksgiving break a little early and kind of went against Netflix's desires and found a room inside the hotel, and the two of us and our stunt doubles rehearsed that bitch for 2 days straight.
And it was worth it. I mean, it was epic. It was.
So good.
We've got 5 minutes until we're going to ask you guys for a question. I'm just going to ask, I mean, maybe all three of you could chime in on this. I just want to discuss, because you touched on the kind of love and the fact that the men needed the women more in the film, but I wanted to touch on the kind of unspoken love between Buck and between Treacherous, because it was like nobody said anything, but it was there, but it was work first. And I just wanted to understand, Jeymes, what your choice, what was behind the thought process in that, because obviously with Mary, it was completely, it was there, it was tangible in that respect. But I feel like there was some sort of unspoken something between Buck and Trudy, or not? Maybe.
Well, for me, really it was trust, but it was just that trusting, which is a form of love, right? It comes with like, it's all love really, but it for me, it wasn't like a romantic love with Trudy and Rufus Buck. It was just like a deep trust, like somewhere, everyone you're close to, even people that are totally different from you in personality, somewhere along the lines there's a oneness, and Trudy and Rufus just have this oneness. If you look at the gang, their entire squad, they do moves without words. They gesture to, like, Cherokee would just, and he'd put his hand back and Trudy would give him the knife. Rufus would put his hand back, give the gun. He would look at and Trudy would give him the gun. He would look at Trudy in the saloon, and Trudy would whack. I mean, all that stuff is done with no words. They never actually hear anything to each other. So I think it's just their oneness. And so if there's a love there, for me it wasn't romantic. Probably you can speak on it.
Well, for Idris and I, we had conversation about it, like how, first of all, we hadn't worked together in so long, and we really wanted to make a meal out of what little we had. And it was just as important to Idris as it was to Jeymes writing and to me that Trudy is her own self, and so it was important for us to show the partnership, which is something that when you see couples that have been together for ever and ever and ever, when you drop the 4 off the ever, they're truly a partnership. They're not wearing their rings anymore. They finishing each other. They start looking alike, moving alike. And there is a pain that Trudy has, that Rufus has, from things that have happened in their past that probably is what brought them together initially. So it was just important to show that. And sometimes I think you can miss that when intimacy doesn't mean physical contact. So it was important to show that intimacy exists outside of the physical contact.
Thank you. Incredible. All right. Amazing. Thank you. We are going to go to audience questions now. So we've got
I believe we have one question. So if you have an incredible question that you know is going to go off, then keep your hand up.
Hello, I'm Victoria. Okay, I can hear myself. Hey,
Victoria's in the room, people.
In the building.
I wanted to ask you, what was it like singing? Because I've never seen you sing before. So. What was it like singing in the film?
What's this, Jonathan?
Yeah.
You're asking?
What was it like singing in the
Yeah,
film?
in the film, because I've never really seen you sing in stuff you've been in. Like when you got the script and they were like, "You're going to sing today," how did you feel?
No, here's the thing. The singing, wicked question, right? Because the singing is probably a culmination of many, 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 many nights and many, 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 many quarantine meals and many, many, many Coca-Colas and cigarettes with this guy. Mind you, the cigarettes were just me. But the Coca-Colas were the both of us, because we would sit. I mean, the film is incredibly musical, right? And so this is kind of like a two-person answer, right? So I'll answer, and then you can, help me. But from Nat's point of view, what it felt like singing was, the film is epic, right? To me, it felt operatic in some ways. There's actually opera in the piece. And there's something about communication that I believe that we can talk to a certain degree, and then after a while, you got to lift every voice and sing, and it reaches a point, right? Your spirituality, your connection, your intimacy reaches a point where, baby, I love you, or don't go out there, or it reaches a point where you have to conjure up and enlist the angels, and so you sing. That's where it comes from. It's the highest level of, I think, intimacy and communication, and it is vulnerable. So it was an extremely vulnerable moment for Nat, and conversely, as an actor, I'm not a singer. You know what I mean? I'm a church boy. You know what I mean? But I'm not a singer. But it made sense to me, and I think it added levels and information to the relationship that Mary and I share. And to the young boy that we met in the prelude, right? Who he was, what he could have been, had this traumatic thing hadn't happened to him. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay, we got
All the
one.
hands have gone up now. All the hands.
Hi. Thank you for that, and thank you for sharing the film. I just wanted to ask about representation and how much that kind of weighs on your decision making this is a broad question for all of you guys, but generally, obviously subverting stereotypical Black stories and what we're allowed to tell, how does that weigh on the decision making that you guys do when taking on roles or when making films for everyone else, basically, if that makes sense?
Great question. Kind of like your question about the behind the
Yes,
scenes.
a bit like what, how did you make this story about Black people as a Western, and Netflix said, right, we'll have that. That's what she's basically asking, changing the scenes.
Well, I was always gonna make the harder they fall, and if I sit down at final draft and I write int, right, like interior, whatever I'm writing, I'm making that thing. So your the word allow, I think we have to delete that from the Negro dictionary.
Wicked.
No one's allowing me to do anything. How can we still, in 2021, give someone else that much power over us? Man, I would shoot the harder they fall with an iPhone. I'm gonna make what I'm gonna make, and I don't know any other way. The Lord gave us the airplane. I'll get on that airplane and I'll still meet Regina King. I'll still meet Jonathan Major. The pitch may be a bit different. So look, and it's this thing, and it takes place in the Old West, and there's a location over there, so we're gonna go to the location over there. No, I'm gonna get the horses. What are you gonna film it on? Well, Apple just released this iPhone 13. Either way, I'm gonna do what it is I'm gonna do, and I believe all of us have the power within us to take our, there's certain words I just turn away from, like dreams. Take our aims and our ideas and put them on our backs and go and make them joints. I made this movie for everyone to see. Like High Plains Drifter was made for, everyone to see, and all of those movies. This is a movie for everyone. But we have to tell our stories and stop putting the power in other people's hands to allow them to allow us to tell those stories. So it turned out Netflix was the perfect studio to make this movie with. They were the perfect partner, and they believed in this first-time filmmaker. But I was going to make The Harder They Fall. Look at me. I'm from around the corner, by the way. Literally, this is my area. Portabello Road, this is my area. I'm from around the corner.
Yes, yes.
So wait. But yet, we're sitting here watching a movie that wasn't just made with all of these characters and all this great talent, but we shot that joint in the middle of a pandemic. We were scheduled to shoot, and then Idris came down with COVID, and we shut down. And at that point, COVID was new, right? We didn't know what was going to happen. Probably was shut down forever and the film's cancelled. In my train of thought, like, okay, COVID, schmovid, like, I'm making this movie. So as soon as this stuff clears up, when all the dust settles, I'm going to be back making that movie. So I believe if we all have that kind of mentality, the formats might change, the budgets might change, but the one thing that doesn't change, man, is our strength of self and our willpower to get things done. And all we need, it's not even really about leadership, it's just kind of like unity. This is what happens when people come together from all over the world. Jay-Z from Marcy Projects, Jeymes Samuel from Mozart Estate, Regina King from
California.
LA, Yo City, Jonathan Majors from Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone just coming together making this thing, and we can, so long as we continue to do that, we can make anything.
James, on that note, can we please? Wow.
Yes, sorry guys, but
we're gonna have to wrap it up, haven't we?
And we gotta make some noise for our three incredible special
guys,
guests.
we're so sorry we couldn't get you all in, but can we please give a warm thank you to the cast of the Netflix Harder They Fall, and stand up, for joining us for an exclusive one extra screening. Please make some noise for Jonathan. Please make some noise for Regina. And make some noise for James. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
One extra.
If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to keep up to date. Watch more great One Extra videos by following the links on screen now. For more great audio and video from the BBC, listen on Sounds or watch on iPlayer.